Welcome to Sports Science Insight, the channel where we break down scientific evidence and turn it into practical knowledge for training, health, and human performance. Today we are looking at the article Anabolic-Androgenic Steroid Use in Sports Health and Society. This consensus statement was published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise in 2021 by Bhasin and colleagues. The question is direct: when athletes or gym users take anabolic-androgenic steroids, are they gaining power or paying a hidden price? The ACSM consensus states that anabolic-androgenic steroids can increase muscle strength, lean body mass, endurance, and power in a dose-dependent way, especially when combined with progressive training. So yes, these drugs can enhance performance, but the same article also makes clear that illicit use brings major health risks, legal issues, ethical problems, and anti-doping consequences. This video is not about glamorizing steroid use. It is about understanding the science, the risks, and the difference between legitimate medical treatment and non-medical performance doping. And if you want evidence-based breakdowns on sports science, training, physiology, and health, subscribe to Sports Science Insight. Let's break it down. AAS stands for anabolic-androgenic steroids. These are drugs chemically and pharmacologically related to testosterone. The word anabolic refers to tissue-building effects. In this context, it usually means increased skeletal muscle growth, lean body mass, and strength potential. The word androgenic refers to effects related to male sex characteristics such as facial hair, voice changes, reproductive effects, and other testosterone-driven changes. This distinction matters because people often use the word steroids in a very broad way. Not all steroids are the same. Corticosteroids, anabolic-androgenic steroids, testosterone therapy, and designer performance drugs are not identical categories. The article also makes an important distinction. There are legitimate clinical uses of androgen therapy. For example, testosterone may be prescribed and monitored for specific medical conditions, but non-medical use for appearance or performance enhancement is different. It is banned by major sport governing bodies and may be illegal depending on the country and context. So the key message is medical treatment is not the same thing as illicit performance enhancement. Steroid use in sport is not new. It is an old problem that has changed with time. Testosterone was isolated and synthesized in the 1930s. By the 1940s and 1950s, reports of use among athletes began to appear. In the 1960s, use increased, especially in strength and power sports. By the 1968 Olympic Games, the article notes that AAS use was already widespread enough to become a major concern. Testing entered the Olympic Games in 1976, but testing did not end the problem. Athletes and users adapted. In 1987, the ACSM updated its position and acknowledged that AAS, when combined with adequate diet and training, could contribute to increases in lean body weight and muscular strength. Then came another shift. Use spread beyond elite sport and into gyms, health clubs, and appearance-focused communities. In 2001, WADA was formed. After 2002, designer anabolic steroids became part of the modern challenge. So this is not a new problem, it is an evolving one. Many people still imagine steroid use as an elite athlete problem, but the article explains that this is no longer enough. AS use has moved beyond sport. Recreational trainees, gym users, bodybuilders, powerlifters, and people focused on appearance now represent a major part of the issue. Some evidence suggests that recreationally active young people may be more likely to use AAS than athletes in organized sport, but prevalence estimates vary widely. The article also highlights that use is likely underestimated. Why? Because many users do not disclose their use, even to physicians. There is stigma, there are legal concerns, there are sporting consequences, and there is fear of being judged as someone who cheated or needed drugs to succeed. Another important driver is body image. Muscle dysmorphia, sometimes described as a distorted drive to become more muscular, is strongly linked to non-medical AAS use. So the current problem is not only about medals, it is also about body image, social pressure, gym culture, and the pursuit of a hypermuscular appearance. AAS use moved beyond sport into gyms and body image culture. This slide shows something important. Real-world non-medical AAS use is often much more complex than simply taking one substance. But I want to be clear, I'm not describing these patterns as instructions. The point is that non-medical use often involves multiple substances, unsafe sources, and serious medical risk. The article describes patterns such as stacking, cycling, pyramiding, and the use of ancillary drugs. Stacking means combining two or more substances. Cycling means alternating periods of use and non-use. Pyramiding means increasing the dose over time, reaching a peak, and then tapering down. Ancillary drugs may be used in an attempt to control side effects or restart natural hormone production, but these practices do not make the process safe. They may actually increase risk because users often combine substances without medical supervision. The article also notes that AAS can be obtained through the internet, black market sources, and unverified laboratories. That creates additional risks related to contamination, incorrect dosing, counterfeit products, and unsafe injection practices. Real-world use is often complex and medically risky. Now let's talk about why these drugs work. AAS can amplify adaptation. They interact with androgen receptors and influence several biological pathways related to muscle growth, strength, recovery, and performance. The article explains that AAS can increase muscle strength, lean body mass, endurance, and power in a dose-dependent way. The effects are especially strong when use is combined with progressive resistance training. Possible mechanisms include increased androgen receptor signaling, greater muscle protein synthesis, satellite cell activation, changes in muscle fiber size, and effects on red blood cell production. AAS may also reduce recovery time and increase the capacity to tolerate training. But this is exactly where the risk begins. A drug that increases adaptation can also disrupt normal physiology. The same system that can produce more muscle and strength can also affect the heart, liver, endocrine system, reproductive function, mood, skin, and long-term health. So the message is not that AAS do nothing. The message is that they can work physiologically, but the cost can be serious. AAS amplify adaptation, but that amplification is not free. The side effects are multi-system, not just cosmetic. That is one of the most important messages from this article. AAS use is associated with several cardiovascular and lipid changes. These may include reductions in HDL cholesterol, changes in clotting factors, altered cardiac structure or function in some studies, and possible arrhythmia-related concerns. The liver can also be affected, especially with some oral anabolic steroids. The article discusses increased liver enzymes, cholestatic jaundice, hepatic neoplasms, and other hepatic concerns, particularly with 17-alpha-alkylated oral AAS. The endocrine and reproductive systems are also affected. AAS can suppress natural hormone production. In men, this may involve suppression of luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone, lower endogenous testosterone production, reduced sperm count, testicular atrophy, infertility risk, and gynecomastia. Psychological and mood effects may also occur. The article discusses mood disturbance, aggression in some individuals, mania or hypomania, depression, dependence, and severe withdrawal symptoms in some users. Skin effects can include severe acne, oily skin, hair loss, and injection site infections. Unsafe injection practices can also increase risk for abscesses, sepsis, HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. So this is not only about looking muscular, the risks can involve the entire body. Risk depends on sex, age, dose, duration, and context. In youth and adolescents, AAS use is especially concerning. Exposure before or during puberty may trigger early virilization. It may also contribute to premature growth plate closure. That means the adolescent may stop growing earlier and lose final height potential. Severe treatment-resistant acne can also appear. For women, the risks can include masculinizing effects. These may include voice deepening, increased body hair, menstrual irregularities, clitoral enlargement, changes in body shape, and male pattern hair loss. Some of these effects may not be reversible, especially voice deepening and other androgenic changes. This is why a single general message about side effects is not enough. The consequences can differ depending on who is using, when they start, how much they use, how long they use, and what other substances are combined. The younger the user, the more concerning the developmental consequences may be, and for women, androgenic effects may be especially visible and potentially long-lasting. Risk depends on sex, age, dose, duration, and context. This distinction is essential. Clinical testosterone therapy is not the same thing as performance doping. Clinical androgen therapy is used for recognized medical indications. It is prescribed by qualified clinicians. It is monitored. It aims to restore or manage hormone levels for medical reasons. The article discusses medical contexts such as hypogonadism, delayed puberty, some gender-affirming treatments, and other clinical indications. In these cases, treatment should follow medical guidelines, laboratory monitoring, and risk assessment. Illicit AAS use is different. It is non-medical. It is often used for appearance or performance enhancement. It may involve superphysiologic doses. It may involve stacking multiple substances. It may rely on unverified sources. And it is banned by major sport governing bodies. This is why the conversation needs precision. Saying testosterone is always bad is not accurate. Saying steroid use is harmless because doctors prescribe testosterone is also not accurate. Medical treatment is not performance doping. Context, indication, dose, monitoring, and legality matter. So what should coaches, trainers, health professionals, and athletes take from this article? First, recognize the reality. AAS can increase performance-related outcomes, including strength, lean body mass, power, and endurance. Denying that effect does not help prevention. Second, recognize warning signs. Rapid and disproportionate increases in muscle mass, strength, or power, severe acne, unexplained mood changes, gynecomastia, unusual vascularity, or signs of withdrawal may require attention and support. Third, prevent with education. The article recommends that coaches, trainers, and medical staff understand why people use AAS and work to reduce temptation through education, evidence-based training, nutrition support, and realistic development plans. Fourth, refer when needed. Possible AAS use dependence, withdrawal, or medical complications should be handled with qualified medical support. Locker room advice is not enough. Fifth, separate clinical therapy from illicit use. Legitimate testosterone therapy requires medical indication and monitoring. It is not the same thing as unsupervised performance enhancement. The final message is simple. Performance should not be built on hidden health risks. If this video helped you understand the science and risks of anabolic-androgenic steroids, subscribe to Sports Science Insight. Here we analyze scientific evidence and turn it into practical knowledge for students, coaches, athletes, and professionals. Leave your comment below. What is the best prevention strategy? Stronger testing, better education, or better support for training and nutrition? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.